So thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, team here. I'm so really glad you guys have invited me. So this is Tapneet, and I'm going to talk to you about how you can able to build the AI ready data foundations, and which eventually help you to move from the potential to production. So if you've been doing the POC and you've been stuck there, and if you're understanding like if the data is one of your challenges, that the session may will be helpful for you. I'm a senior solution architect working within AWS, primarily work around the analytics and AI ML space. I've been with AWS from last 6 years and help my customers on AWS, help AWS customer to build the data foundations on AWS services. So happy to be here. Before I can go and talk about like this is about me. This is my wife Anshul. I have two sons now. He's a 5-year-old. Other one is 5 months, and this is me, of course. I have a total 14 plus year of industry experience, including working with AWS from last 6 years. I have started my journey as a Google developer, moved to DBA just because I did not had a job at the time, 2008, 2009 recession. Moved to the DBA role, and thereafter I became the data engineer and now been working within AWS as a specialist solution architect in analytics and AI ML. I'm author of a book called Data Wrangling on AWS, and I'm also currently writing a book on the data foundation for GenAI, though this is not the title, but the topic will be, or mm, the content will be the same. So most of the content which I'm looking to present today is being which I'm being wrote for my book. So I'm just trying to get a gauge how you guys like it, and do provide your feedback if you have anything for me to go and improve upon. Other is I like writing, so I've been writing a lot. I have published almost 50 plus technical blogs, and which has almost 250k plus views. Some of them official AWS blogs, and some of them on my personal website. I have created a data engineering course with deep learning or Coursera, and within AWS, of course, we have 30,000 plus learners, and I'm a struggling or aspiring YouTuber. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I posted that link I posted the link on a chat, so do find and subscribe to me. And also, I have posted my LinkedIn link as well. So feel free to connect me there. Love to have you in my network. In my free time, if I get any, I try to volunteer and try to give back to the society, and also try to mentor the high schoolers and college students so they can able to navigate through these tough job markets. So let's understand what we're looking to go and cover in today's session. So I will be starting about uh, what the Gen AI revolution is all about, and what's the current market context, and then we will be going and learn about why the traditional data foundations fall short, and the third one we are looking to go and learn about was the experimentation to production gap, why that is being failing. And then I have developed something called AI Ready Data Framework. That is still in the development, but I felt like I think it's ready to at least to present to a small audience. So I will be talking. Sorry, someone has a question. Okay, so I will be introducing that data framework to help you to bridge this gap, and then we will be going and talking around the key implementation considerations, and I will be sharing some practical next step for you to go and get started. So let's go and get started, right? So how, if any of you know when the ChatGPT was launched? Okay, any guess? Okay, no. So
No.
it was announced in November 30th, 2022 as a preview or research preview, right? And it's not even a 3 year, and it's feel like it's in ages, like when we working within Gen AI space. And if you just let me share some stats with them. When the Chat GPT was launched, within the 60 days, it reached to 100 million user. And for TikTok, it took 6 months, and for Instagram, it took almost 2 years to reach that number, like 100 million users. So think of like as ChatGPT was launched, everyone was fixated towards it, like to start using it. And I was, before our session, I was trying to find how many subscribers they have. They do not officially publish that number, but by some website it was showcasing they have 800 active weekly users, and they have a 1 point some billion searches on their model. So with that, all the organizations that went into the panic mode, all of a sudden you must have realized within your organization as well, everyone is kind of crumbled together, and hey, what will be our GenAI strategy, where we should be getting started. Literally everyone want to do some kind of other work around the POC. And that's what I call it, GenAI panic mode, because all the executives, they were into the race of implementing some kind of a GenAI within their organization without having any strategic value around it, or without formulating any strategic value around the GenAI, what value to bring to my customer or what value to bring to my organization. They wanted to go and implement something because they have that uh, pressures, right, from the industry, from the market, and of course from the competitors. And me, usually being a solution architect, get an opportunity to talk to so many executives, and I have learned the vocabulary of those executives change overnight. Now everyone is wanted to talk about the foundation model, they wanted to talk about embeddings, they wanted to talk about the prompt engineering, they wanted to talk about the hallucinations. Now everyone is looking to talk around the MCP, A2A, etc., etc., right? So that is being done, and within 6 months after the chat GPT, we had an explosion of n number of models being launched by Meta, by Google, uh, by Claude, and by Alibaba, IBM. I don't know how many models has been launched. Mistral AI, right? There are many companies who has been brought those foundation models. So fast forward in now 20, we are in May 2025. What's the current state looks like? So you must have observed there are, every other companies are working towards, or at least what I see in a field when I talk to every customer, like literally every other company are into that GenAI bandwagon. They're looking to implement some kind of other kind of a POC, and they have identified hundred of POC use cases. But what I see here is the implementation of, or at least production implementation of those GenAI product is very less. So as per the McKinsey, which I'm showcasing in my slide, is there is, every organization, there are 71% organization is using GenAI in some form, right? But only 11% of them has implemented at scale. When I say at scale, it means that is being used by many organizations, or that is being used by many employees, or that is being used by their customers, right? However, the success rate around the AI project has increased. Earlier, we used to have below 20%. Now we have almost like 48%. So companies are kind of moving towards where they were able to have a successful implementation. At the same time, we have seen, the organizations who's trying to build the proof of concept, they are they're dropping in between. And a couple of challenges which I will be going and talking about. One of them is definitely the data, but other one is the return of investment. I see many organizations who just started blindly around building the GenAI POCs. They are now kind of taking a step back and trying to understand, hey, if this even makes sense in very first place itself, this is bringing the return of investment for us or not. Or the third pillar which I see the company organizations are struggling is terms of people and processes, right? And then if they do, or the skills, they do not have a right skill in place, or they do not have a right processes in place. So that is one other challenges. And the third challenge is the use cases. So as per the Google Cloud survey, the success rate I see, we have 48% of success rate, but the success rate is vary across use cases to use cases. And the use cases which is being primarily more around the enterprises, I have see the success rate are are very below. Like, if we talk around the document processing, if we talk around the customer service automations, code generation, etc., which is being offered, which is being thought is going to go and change the industry, the success rate still is very, very low there. Other one is that like content generations, data analysis, processing automations. Hey, when I say like content generation, I'm not talking about the content which I post on LinkedIn using ChatGPT. I'm talking about marketing content where you need to have very specific marketing brand when you will be going and looking to create it, right? So that's where I see where this success rate is not that great, and also more around the agentic workload, right? If we have to have a complex decision making where we wanted to have multimodal integrations, etc., that's where I see that even success rate is not. I see like the Google Cloud survey has said, like the success rate is even below that. So the logical questions comes into mind hour is like, okay, what holding them back, right? So why they are not able to move from the prod to productions? What are the challenges there? And what we see here is most organizations are focused towards the foundation model. Hey, we should be using this foundation model. We should be using other foundation models. Hey, now we are having a foundation model with a 1 million of context window. We have reasoning model. We have MCP. We have an A2A. Now we have a multiple applications being wrapped around those foundation models. So literally, the industry is focused around the foundation model, but they're missing very critical component, or there's not enough discussions around these two components, which is the AI ready data foundations. Other was the technology and integration. The third one is of course the return on investment. So for our talk, we will be going and focusing on the AI ready data foundation, but this too is also very, very critical in terms of like having and defining the return of investment, whether even this is making sense or not making sense in very first place itself. Before I can move forward, any questions so far? So I don't have access to chat, so if you have any questions.
No, it's okay. We are monitoring it. If something shows up, we'll let you know, right?
Okay, cool. Thank you. So even before we go and understand, like, what why we are not able to move from predictions and why the data is not ready, and what the where the traditional data approach fall apart, let's understand that what makes generative AI different from the other AI. So we had a machine learning where we used to have a simple sample input, and we used to have a label data, and then we used to ask a very specific task. Hey, can you able to go and identify spam emails, right? It was able to do that. So that is nice. So we used to have a sample data and then sample task, which we used to do that. That is where it used to excel. Then we had a deep learning where we used to have a complex input where we used to train our data, whether it's a supervised learning, unsupervised learning. We used to provide multiple images and we used to label all of them, and then it used to detect a simple input. For instance, in an image detection, it used to detect whether it's a cat, it's not a cat, it's a dog, it's not a dog, etc. So kind of a simple output. With a machine learning, with a foundation model, which is again, it's a part of the deep learning, things change. It has complex input as a data, which is being trained on, right? And then it has a complex output. And the reason is it is being using, so the foundation model uses like more of a context, or using supervised learning, and it's able to understand the pattern, right? So think of like how our kids, or we as a kid, learn. Even today we learn, right? So if you're teaching your 5-year-old, like how I'm doing is, hey, this is a dog, this is how you're able to identify a dog. So regardless which kind of a breed the dog is, whether my daughter has seen that in past or not, he able to tell, or at least in some extent he able to identify or able to tell this is a dog, or able to tell this is a cat. even though he have never seen that cat in a past, right? That's how the foundation models work as well. This model is being trained on something. It has a awareness around the context. It able to tell, or it able to provide that whether it's it able to generate that response for us. And the context awareness is very key concepts when we talk around the foundation model. And this is the one example which I have generated. So if I go and ask a model, hey, can you give me a man fish? Like I'm been using the Nova model, the Amazon model, which generate the images. So I ask, hey, generate an image where a man fishing by a bank, right? So what it did, it just created a man which is kind of fishing by a bank. Where I said like a man sitting by a bank. Literally what I just changed here in the entire sentence, sitting and a fishing. I just changed this one, I just changed the context. And when I change the context, I have a different image altogether. And this is what we need to understand when we work when we try to build the data foundations for the generative AI, how the context matter. And this is what we're looking to go and learn around in our rest of the talk. Okay. So when we talk around utilizing data within the GenAI, there are four stages in if I have to broadly classify those stages. These are 4 stages where the data is being used. One is the training, right? When you will be initially training your foundation model, or if you're using the distilled model, if you're training with the foundation, if you're training with a model for very specific data sets for it to have a very specific domain knowledge. And thereafter, when you will be looking to do a testing and validation, that's where you will be providing some example to the model. Thereafter, you will be going and doing the fine-tuning of those models. And at the end, if you've been using that RAG, right, which is retrieval augmented generations, where you will be providing the real-time context to your model. So this way, it's able to generate the data from, it able to generate the response from your data. So more of a providing the context, providing the retrieval, providing the data for your model, so it can have a real-time context around your data. So when you will be asking, or if you have built a chatbot for your end user, and if it is being pointed to your rack, it able to go and extract that information, and also it able to provide where the information is coming, right? That ethical AI pillar, traceability. So this is where 4 pillars. And now let's understand that how traditional data foundation is different from the data foundations, because that set us the stage where, hey, when you will be looking to go and work on your existing organization and try to understand where you're sitting in terms of like where your data foundations stand today, and what else you need to do in order for it to make it much more AI ready data foundations. Okay, so first of all, like in terms of data type, so primarily the traditional data foundations are structured towards the structured data. So you guys this is a SQL Server group. So like SQL Server allow you to have a structured data and some semi-structured data as well. You can able to have that JSON data being stored, but primarily more around catered towards the structured data. Whereas when we talk around the GenAI data foundations, it should able to have all kind of a data, whether it's a structured data, unstructured data, but heavily unstructured data. And the reason being is still the most of those relevant information are stored across multiple unstructured data, such as it's being stored in the PDF file, stored into maybe your company wiki, it's stored into emails, stored into images, stored into any other audios, videos, etc. So, and all of them have a you should able to go and store it, as well as you're able to go and maintain the relationship. Then you will be having the context requirement. So when we talk around the context requirement, when you do an query within the SQL Server, you're only looking for a very specific outcome, and that to be very specific outcome from the table. However, when we talk about when we talk around generative AI, when you're asking, hey, whether this model, or you've been asking or searching whether this should be working, let's say, hey, can I able to install whether SQL Server 20, I don't know what's the new version of SQL Server. I'm assuming it's 2024 or 2025. So let's say,
2025.
okay, cool. So SQL Server, it's been a while I have worked on the SQL Server, so my apologies. So let's say if you say like whether SQL Server 2025 is supporting this particular feature, right? So it should have an awareness around that feature, what this feature is about, whether the feature was available in previous versions or not. So it able to provide you better response. So it not supported in 2025, maybe you want to check in 2024, 2022, 2021, or whatever version that being supporting. So I'm just giving an example. In a query pattern, you will be having predictable query. Hey, you know what you've been asking, and more importantly, you know what kind of a response you will be looking to expect from that query. Whereas in the Gen AI, right, it's more of a semantic understanding, semantic in terms of you will be defining in a natural language, and it should able to understand the intent behind asking that question. So for instance, if you're doing a customer product review, and if someone asks you, this product is good but it's not up to its value, or the value proposition is not that good, what does it mean? Whether it's a negative sentence or it's a positive sentence. This product is good, but this is a positive, but it's not towards its value, so the price which I paid for this product is not that great. So it's kind of a mixed reaction. So product is good, nice, but right, overall sentiment is not that great. So right, it should able to understand the hidden meaning behind when you will be saying something. So that is like context awareness. It should have a semantics and everything as such. The processing, of course, in traditional we've been doing batch. Now I have seen like more and more organizations are moving towards the streaming. But when we talk about in a Gen AI, it's a real time, it's interactive, and it should able to have a dynamic context, right? So more importantly, it's not only you able to go and find the information within your organizations, but if that information is not available within your organizations, or it's not available within your wiki, it should be able to go on internet and able to find that information for you, right? So bringing that information and having that millisecond latency, because your customer is not looking to wait for 10 minutes for you to go and bring that all information, retrieve, and like retrieval should be really, really fast. Storage, we had this table oriented, row and columns. Even now we have objective oriented within an S3 and everything as such. But more importantly, in Gen AI, it's a vector based, so you will be having vector DB, everything as such. Just remind me, does SQL Server supports vector storage?
Yes, now.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so vectors is one of those things which is being needed as well. Other one is, of course, you need to have a update, like in a traditional update is depends on the business need. Here you have to have a continuous integrations, right? You should always able to provide that right information, and then that's how your model will not able to hallucinate, or else it start hallucinating. Schema requirement, you can have a rigid schema. Here you need to have flexible schema. Governance, this is one area where I see a lot of challenges. In a traditional, you can have a attribute access control, you can have a row based access control, you can have an IAM control, you can able to do all kind of a control around the table and everything as such. That suffice. Whereas when we talk about the generative AI, it has an ethical concerns. It should able to have a bias detection. It should able to have a responsible use. So more around that responsible and ethical AI, right? You should able to tell where how the model generating the response, how it comes and how it concluded for that response. If the data is not biased towards very individual groups, or especially the marginalized group. And the reason being, this model is being heavily trained on the open data. And if some group is underrepresented on those data, that model the model will be biased towards that particular group, right? So having and detecting those things will be there. And then of course you will be, the retrieval mode is primarily more around the exact exact match or keyword, where like kind of call it lexical. Whereas here we will be having the semantic, and then of course that scalable dimensions, the data will be stored into, it's huge. Here also it's huge, but the challenge here is it's huge as well as it has to maintain the relation. So if it's not maintaining the relation between multiple data sources, then you will be not able to go and scan across the multiple data sources and able to provide the right relations, right? I know it's a lot to digest, but yeah, those are the kind of differences between the traditional and the GenAI Data Foundation. And so this is now onwards. This is what I will be talking around. What I see within the field, where the organizations are failing in terms of not able to move from the proof of concept to the productions. And I will be talking around the technical challenges as well as I will be talking around the data governance challenges. These are the two challenges are kind of I've seen within the field. So one is like, okay, when we got the foundation model, like everyone start using it and start generating all kind of a content. But as soon as that we'll start using into the enterprises, we start seeing the challenges. One is the hallucinations, right? We see the they generate the response, but response is so really good, you can't able to differentiate whether it's an actual response or whether it's a right response or it's a wrong response. So that's what we call the hallucinations. And in order for it to overcome the hallucinations, there are multiple methods. You will be starting from the prompt engineering, where you will be providing examples to your model, or you will be writing a better prompt. It's able to go and generate those in a response for you. Other ones be done with the prompt engineering. Then we went ahead into fine-tuning model, where we will be talking around, okay, what will be the temperature of the model, what will be the recall K and recall, what will the recall for that, and then top K, top P, all those things will be a recall value for those. Those are those parameters which we have worked around, right, to kind of ensure the model is not hallucinating. Thereafter, we will went ahead and, hey, now we are having the RAG, so which is retrieval augmented generations, where you will be providing your model you will be providing the context to your model to an actual data. That is where we have seen a lot of improvement in terms of models are start providing that informations which is being needed. But the challenge is RAG, the proof of concept. You're able to go and create one vector store where you have stored all your data, right, and pointing that to your foundation model. But as soon as you start going to scale it, that's where the challenges start coming in, because first of all, it's going to be super expensive. Now you're looking to store millions and billions of parameters or embeddings within your vector store. So you have to have a very scalable vector store in very first place itself. For you to go and store it, you have to go and bring those data and have those data being stored. So the problem is there, if there is issue there is a data quality issue in your data which you've been embedding and storing into your vector store, then you will start having the challenges around, okay, if one embedding is bad, it will be generating the bad response, and it will be having impact on all other embeddings too, right? Other is the content refresh mechanism. You always have to provide the new data to your vector store, so this way it will able to go and have the relevant informations, right? Other thing is like the traditional ETL pipeline was not built for embeddings and everything as such. So now you have to go and create a new pipeline for you to go and bring the data, chunk the data, create an embedding, and then having the data being stored into your vector store. Also,
so there are a couple of questions. So one is from Chin herself. I don't know how I kind of forgot about it, but she's asking, sometimes we ask questions to to ChatGPT or Copilot or something like that, and they come back with a wrong answer or not, how do you explain that to your boss? So that's a tough one. I think it is not technical, but if you have encountered something like this,
Yeah, it is.
then
It's a common pattern actually. So see, when you will be going and asking, so your boss may be asking, hey, you should be going and learning how you to have a better prompting. So asking a general question, which is fine, but when you start going and asking very specific, domain specific questions, that's where I got a lot of challenge. And at least what is happening within now with the field is people all of a sudden they become the AI and the data expert, right? They've been putting a lot of garbage content on the internet, and most of them are not accurate conceptually or factually, right? So that's what like I see the challenge right now. We've been having so much of garbage data being, and again, this is one of the challenge which is being which is for the foundation, for the model creators as well, because now most of the data which is being created within the internet is being generated by the foundation models or by the LLMs, and there is no guardrails around it. Okay, how you will be validating if that information is accurate or that information is not accurate, right? So the answer to your questions, I'm so sorry I went into the different directions. Answer to your questions, if it's not there, you have to ensure you will be providing your model an example, and you should have a domain expertise in order for you to go and validate if the answer is accurate or not accurate. Okay. Yeah, you said like there are a couple of questions.
Yeah, the second is from me actually. Somebody else is also typing. So, say for example, I'm using Copilot. Actually, I've ditched ChatGPT, right? And what I do is I type in a question, and the time I get the answer back, can you try to kind of map that process with what's happening here?
So when you type a question and then it provides an answer to you.
Correct. So the idea is what goes behind the scenes. Is that something you're going to cover a little later, or?
Yeah, I think I can. This session is not about GenAI, but let me anyways talk about what is GenAI, how this is to work.
Okay.
If you see here, right, this is this definitions. So what happened is when you've been asking the questions for the generative AI, right? It tried to it is being built on the neural network. If I go back in time, right? So as we know, there is a model called attention all you need, and it works as a transformer model. Okay, so in a transformer model, it has something called where it able to go and try to predict the next word. So earlier we used to have it called the attention mechanism. Okay, so earlier we used to when we talk about history of natural language, because at the end it's a natural language. So we used to have a bag of words, and then we used to have a word2vec, right? Those were nice. It able to go and generate you the response, but the context window of those are very, very, very small. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay.
Now, with these models, the context windows are very, very, very huge. When we say the context window of these models are huge, it means it has a really, really big vocabulary. So when these models were trained, were trained on the humongous amount of data, and then the vocabulary is being built. So if you see this example, when I say the student opened their right, what it tried to say, it tried to find what is the best words come after it, and being done based on like how your vector is being stored, how the embedding is being done around it. So if I can go back in that example which I have shared you earlier, where I was talking around the context, right? So if you see here, a man fishing by a bank, right? The bank is a common denominator. It's how the model know what kind of bank I'm talking about. So
Correct.
it has a context of fishing. So when I say
Fishing. Okay.
it's talking about the river bank, but I say hey, sitting, it may be a man sitting by a bank. It may be man sitting by a river bank, and man maybe sitting outside of a bank, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it's around like how to able to go and find the context and how that is being embedded and everything as such. That's how it will done. Maybe I can come later and explain you how inner working of a foundation model, but this go really is very fascinating.
Well, thank you. Sorry for the interruption. And there's one last question here. Know how industries implement AI. I see it is evolving every day. And by the time I learn a topic, I see many architectures like MCP agents, etc. What do companies use exactly, and what do you suggest for new grads to focus on in AI? I believe this might be ideal question to answer in the end, or no?
I can try
Okay.
answer now. Okay, so that's a very interesting questions because trust me, everyone, no one knows where the industry is heading. So if someone is telling, hey, the person knows where the industry is heading, that person is lying. Trust me, because in every discussions which I'm having with the executives and even with the organizations and within the AWS itself, which I see here, is it's ever evolving field. Okay, but one thing which is going to be there is your data. All right, when we say the data, I already talked around how the data is little going to be different than what we used to have there. So if you're a new grad or if you're into college and if you're looking to go and looking to learn something, develop your core understandings around how foundation models works, how it uses the data, how you're able to go and enrich your data, how you're able to go and tune your foundation models. That will remain there. All the protocols and all the foundation models, all the ecosystems around it, it's going to evolve. We are only 3 years in, right? So we are not. No one knows where we are heading, and what's the maturity curves look like for the foundation model as we are in very early stage. So it's very difficult to say, and even I don't know. But one thing I see the clear cut segregation now is that Hive is going down. Now organizations, at least on the enterprise label, they're taking a step back. They're trying to understand if I'm getting the real value, the investment I'm putting into it, and where are the challenges are in order for me to go and implement the generative AI. So it's not like okay, I'm not looking to implement the generative AI. I'm looking to implement the generative AI, but I'm looking to more tied towards where I will be getting the return of investment, if that makes sense. So concentrate on the data side of the world, concentrate on the ethical AI side of the world, concentrate on the responsible AI side of the world. Those are the vector embedding side of the world, RAG, all those things gonna be remain here. Okay. So I just talked about technical challenges. Other challenges which was not there or it was not as prominent as we are having in the generative AI is around the governance. So we are having the legal challenges. Okay, the data or the output model is generating is not have any IP constraint around it, or we are not going to go and get any kind of lawsuit down the line, right? So also you should able to trace it back, like okay, from where it's generating the output. You're able to explain it, like you're able to explain it how the response is being generated. It should not be biased, also more around, it should be robust enough. It should not be able to you should not able to do a how we used to have in a SQL server, we call it ingestion, right? Where you're able to put something in a SQL and it able to go and extract information. You should not able to hack the system by doing a clever prompt engineering. All those are there. The quality is like being being challenged by many people. Like, okay, the data which we are getting, or the quality of the data which we are getting from the GenAI, are those enough, right? We have other is like, okay, around is we've been so used to of having the SQL Server or object store or something kind of a storage. Now we have altogether a new storage system, that is the now we're looking to go and have the data being stored into vector store. And I don't know how the future is going to get evolved. Right now we're talking a lot around the GraphDB. We're talking around a lot around the vector stores. We're talking around having the data being stored into object store, as in lakehouse architecture, etc., which has a schema evaluation in place, which has a partition evaluation in place. So those are the things which is being taught a lot. Other thing which is being very important in the GenAI space is the metadata part of it, right? So you should able to have a metadata information being attached to it. This way it able to go and provide a far better accurate result, and then it again tied to that ethical and responsible AI for it. And of course you will be having the documentation, because let's say if you're looking to build a chatbot who's looking to go and provide you response to your end user, if there is a wrong in the documentation, and I think I don't remember the company name, but I was reading the news. The company has launched a chatbot which was built on the GenAI, and that has provided a wrong information to a customer. Later, that is being that is not been honored by the organizations, and then that is being sued by the customer, and the judge has asked them to refund that amount. So that is like, if the companies are not able to go and manage all this information, if they're rolling out this product, that has going to have a lot of complications or implications around it. So how the AI ready data framework look like? And again, this is me trying to come up with something here. I don't see this is not a standard or industry standard. This is me kind of trying to working on my book and trying to see how the layer should look like. So we going to have a data ingestion pipeline, where of course we need to looking to bring the data from different data sources, whether it's structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data, video, audio, or any other emails, PDFs, everything as such, right? Bringing the data from the SaaS application. So we should have a pipeline which is robust enough and able to bring the data. Not only able to bring the data, it's able to maintain the context of the data, it's able to maintain the relation of the data, and how the data is being, the relation is being stored and everything as such, right? That will come into the documentation layer. So preserve the comprehensive context of both the humans and machines. Like, okay, the thing is with the GenAI, this is just not a what we used to have in a traditional is we used to go and store the data, and that is the data was primarily for the machine to understand, right? With the GenAI, the data should able to understand by machine. At the same time, the data should able to have understood by the human as well. So that's where the complications comes into picture. And thereafter, we're going to have a data and metadata layer. We're going to have a storage and dimensionality, dissemination layer, and then licensing and user layer. I will be going and talking around all of that in our upcoming slides. Any questions? Cool. So, as I said, like, GenAI requires a specialized form of an ingestion pipeline. You can have a data being stored from or brought in from the different data sources, and our existing or conventional ETL is not built for that. So we definitely need to have a data pipeline which is able to go and bring all the data. Also, when we bring the data, it's maintaining it, able to extract that. Extract that information, as well as it able to preserve the relation. Preserving the relation is super critical. That's how it able to go and understand that. I was telling you that around the context window. So that if you're able to have the relation, that's how you're able to go and understand and able to provide you better response. Of course, you have to have a far better metadata. So when you are having the metadata, it will be reducing the guesswork which is being done by the generative AI, or the hallucination which is being produced by the generative AI. And of course, you need to have a real-time embedding, because now the data is getting outdated really, really quick. So you're looking to go and extract that information in real time and able to provide that. And of course, you need to have a incremental data process. So not only you will be looking to bring the data, but also if you have the data being stored somewhere, as soon as the new data being coming in, you're able to go and put the data into your vector store. When we say like real-time embedding, it's more like someone is asking the questions. The pipeline should able to and convert that into real-time embedding, and that's how it will be able to go and find the response within that vector store and able to provide you output, if that makes sense. Of course, this is documentation layer. So in a documentation layer, unlike traditional documentation where we used to primarily focus around the human, in the GenAI, the documentation, we are primarily looking to talk more around the human as well as machines, right, or automated systems. So this foundation layer, it has a comprehensive documentation ensuring the transparency and reproducibility that is very critical for you to ensure follow the ethical and responsible AI concept. It must able to, as I mentioned, you able to storing that relation as well. That is important too. Also, you have to have a this layer also offers governance, right? Okay, you're looking to put the governance, who's having access. And when we talk around the governance within the generative AI, governance go across multiple layers. You will be giving an access to your models. You will be giving access to your data. You will be giving access to documents, who able to access what kind of who able to access or who able to put what kind of a prompt. So guardrails, you should be able to putting those guardrails there. When the model will be providing an output, what kind of output model should able to provide, that you're looking to put one kind of guardrail there as well, right? So those are important things, and that is where having and putting those lineage, putting that data quality layer, and putting that, ensuring there's no potential bias against the data. That's where if you're able to maintain those relations and context within the documentation layer, that help you to reduce that challenges there. Okay. Data and metadata layer. This is kind of self-explanatory, but we are looking to go and bring that metadata layer here itself. And when we talk about the metadata here, it's just not the technical metadata or business metadata. Also, we are looking to have the knowledge graphs as well, which has the context and relations too. So, and also it not only support the keyword search, it also able to support the semantic search as well. So that is there as well. Then you will be having the storage and decimations layer. So that is also help you to kind of more of like how you're looking to go and allow you to go and access your data. So this it allow for you to have this layer allow you to do kind of more of a think of low latency retrieval. Are you able to have handle diverse content, right? It's just not, my model should not be trained on one very specific task. It should be able to work across multiple tasks, right? Also, you need to have data mobility. So you're able to move from the data from vector store to embedding to graph to relationals, etc. So that can be done as well. That can be thinking. You should be thinking through that as well. Also, it should have intelligence, right? It should be able to put because now we're looking to go and store lot of data. So you should have some kind of intelligence inbuilt where you're able to move the data. If it's not in use, it should move into low cost storage, as well as it be able to put some kind of a compression, everything as such. At the same time, you should be able to go and extract that information in real time. So kind of very, very complex architecture we're talking here.
Hey, Navneet,
Mhm.
about 2 minutes. Do you need more time? Then we can declare that, yeah, we need more time. Otherwise, just a reminder. Okay.
I
I was
need,
also so captured that I totally forgot to look at the time, but
yeah,
it's okay.
I need, have 3 or 4 slides, then I will be done. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So other ways will be the licensing and usage layer. So you need to ensure, right? Okay, your system should able to have a complex legal and ethical dimensions around the data utilizations. So when you will be going and someone is using it, it it should not able to go and have some kind of legal trouble down the line. So or also you will to have a handle that AI specific concerns like training, fine tuning, synthetic data generations, etc. So uh, as I mentioned earlier, like when we talk around the permissions within the model, it's just not around the data. You can able to have a data is there, but also you will be looking to create a uh, looking to have a guardrails around who's accessing your model, what kind of input is being given, what kind of output it can be given, right? So you do not wanna you do not have a some you wanna put a guardrail where you can ensure okay it's not able to extract the SSN from your user, right? So those things should be there in place. And again, this is the security layer. Security layer, as I mentioned earlier, I think I have already repeated myself. There are multiple layers of security, which is data protections, prompt defense, database security, access control. When we talk about access control, we are talking around attribute-based access control. We are talking around role-based access control. We are talking around fine-grained access control. All kind of control can be there. Uh, Here, like putting the guardrails, so if someone is trying to inject some bad information and trying to retrieve some bad information, you should have some guardrail there. You should have a guardrails around the prompt. Definitely you should have or kind of encrypting your data when the information is being retrieved from the data and when it's being fed to model. Also you may anonymize those response when you're looking to train the model from your data, right? So you're looking to go and generate those synthetic there. So you must be wondering like, okay, this is a lot, where we should be starting, and if I'm trying to build the data foundation for my organizations, where I should be starting. So you don't need to go and boil the oceans, right? That's the whole idea. You should be starting from where you are. Okay, just assess, hey, I'm looking to build this use case. Now do I have the all that data which is required for me to build that use case? Do my data is good enough for me to go and feed the data to my foundation model or create a vector store out of it? Those information is important. Once you're able to establish, okay, I have that very specific data set which help me to solve those use cases, then on top of it, like you will be looking to see what use case you're looking to go and work upon, right? To just select one or two and start there. You should be establishing the foundation. And again, this is just not a linear, it's kind of more of a circular. It's a feedback. So when you will be doing there, you will be assessing it, that going back one there and assessing the architecture, everything as such. Then you will be developing the governance. You can't go with any deployment within the GenAI without the robust governance. This is must have. And of course, now I have seen more and more organization is struggling towards the skills and culture. So you need to have a skill to work upon, and of course you have to have a culture within your organization which supports GenAI. So I don't think there is any turning back from the GenAI. So every organization has to follow along. If not, then they may lose that competitive edge. So these are the getting started assignment questions, and then you will be asking all kind of questions there to go and get started. I know we are top of the offer. So with that, that was my last slide. Feel free to connect me over LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn uh, QR code. And thank you, Parish, for having me here, and I really appreciate it.
Cool.